Welcome back to another Q&A video. As always, the questions are fantastic, and if you have any, put them down below and let's get started. First question, is it possible to build a good neck if I just use resistant bands for curls and extensions? Absolutely, my man. As long as you're making progress in the gym, everything's going to be fine. Now with bands, it's extremely simple. You walk further back, just like a band facepall. Or you double the bands, which automatically increases the tension like crazy. Or you change the resistant band or add another one on top of it. That's how you're going to make progress. It's the same thing with band facepall. So don't worry about it. As a matter of fact, bands will allow you to contract your neck in a nice way. You're getting that nice TUT, if you know what I mean. In fact, there are neck harnesses that you can buy which are specifically designed to incorporate bands into it, where you can do twisting motions and stuff like that. So if you're trying to build your neck, it's a great way. It's a safe way to do it. It's very practical. It can be done anywhere. You can just get yourself a doorway mount, do it there. Like a lot of great options. So I think what you're doing is a fantastic idea, and it's 100% going to work. Alpha, why do my biceps not respond to curls but get a lot bigger when I do work on rings? Yeah, I experienced similar things to yourself. Rings are one of the greatest ways to build your biceps. It's a secret that not many people know about, and it has to do with the weighted stretching component. I found that most of the best mass builders always have a weighted stretching component. Rack pull above the knee, for example, weighted stretch on the traps. The incline curls, weighted stretch on the biceps. The gymnastic rings, as you're now experiencing. All these cheat rows, these heavy weighted dips, whenever there's a crazy stretching component, seems to be great for mass. That's exactly what you're experiencing right now, especially when you do a lot of straight arm work or arms turned out. Immense pressure on the biceps. So gymnastic rings, I think it's one of the best ways to build your bis naturally. And the gymnasts obviously have known this for years. The anecdote is there if you clearly look at it. And I would say keep doing it. When you rack pull, do you round your shoulders? Well, I don't really focus too much on that anymore. As long as my lower back is in a tight spot, everything is fine. Some guys like to employ thoracic rounding, which is when you intentionally round the upper back. Other people, they want to have everything retracted and tight. There's a lot of debate in regards to that. Personally, I don't really pay much attention to that. I just grab onto the bar, make sure that my core is tight, my lower back is in a good spot, and I pull. Now, when doing rack pulls above the knee, it really doesn't matter what you're doing. It just doesn't matter. When you're doing below the knee, that's when you can start playing around with regular form or thoracic rounding. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, especially if your goal is just bodybuilding. And for strength training, some guys are stronger in the rounded back position. So, I mean, do what you got to do, but it's really not a big deal. I mean, you're still going to get big traps whether you're rounding your shoulders or not. So don't worry about it. What are your thoughts on doing the deficit trap bar deadlift as an accessory for the deadlift? Might have carryover, but I'm not 100% certain on that one. I mean, there will always be a certain degree, yes. But is the most specific variation you could do? Probably not. I think a regular deficit deadlift or even a stiff leg deadlift would suit you more. But this could be a good alternative. Let's say your lower back is a bit iffy that day and you want a solid exercise that's quite difficult, but you want to spare the lower back simultaneously. Then a deficit trap bar deadlift, I think, would be a great alternative because you're not going to be going that heavy. It'll probably be less than your standard pull, so you're getting more out of less weight. Because the leverages, your lower back is going to be in a fine spot, and you'll get some leg drive benefits, which might have carryover in that regard. So I would say give it a shot when you're feeling a bit iffy. You know, if your specific goal is to improve the conventional deadlift, then I would say more variations of the conventional deadlift, such as pulling from mats or blocks or doing deficit pulls or stiff-legged pulls will suit you more. But what you're suggesting now is also a fine choice if you're feeling a little bit iffy. So that's just my opinion on it. Every time I do heavy pulls, the straps destroy my wrists. Are there any solutions? Yes, I would recommend that you buy high-quality straps, okay? These cheap straps that you buy, it's not worth it because you always end up getting a new pair anyways. So you're not saving any money. And this goes for any piece of equipment. Always get the best stuff from the get-go, period, if we're talking about safety and stuff like that. So I recommend you get the Iron Mind wrist straps. I'm not sponsored by Iron Mind, but hell, I should be because I've been using these straps for a while and they're absolutely amazing. So the material is great. I've never had wrist issues when doing this, all right? And I think you'll be fine if you get a high-quality pair. Those really cheap ones, that's likely the cause. Now, if using these exact straps and still having problems, maybe you should wear like a long sleeve shirt and kind of put the straps on top of it. That might work, you know? So that's a little option there. Personally, I think you'll be fine if you get a good pair. But let me know how that helps, okay? Are front squats and sumo deadlifts a good way to build legs? It's a great way to build legs. If you're a recreational lifter or you seek general strength training, you can't go wrong with this option. It's perfect, really. Sumo deadlifts are quite athletic. They will provide numerous hypertrophy benefits. Obviously, you're gonna get better at sumo pose and stuff like that. So you can't go wrong with the sumo. Front squats, man, a lot of people would even argue that's superior to a back squat. I'm not gonna dive into that debate, but I would definitely agree that front squats are a great exercise. I mean, you're getting the thoracic extension in there. The range of motion is great. You got that nice upright torso. Getting more or less weight. I love front squats. Like if you can front squat some heavy ass weight, man, you're gonna be a complete beast. So I really like it, and your combination here is fantastic. Whatever your goal may be, I don't think you're gonna have any issues whatsoever. This is a great way to train. How do you accept failure when you failed your goals? Been trying to get the LSID, but it's just not working for me. Well, why do you accept failure? You're saying you're failing at an LSID, bro? Come on, bro. You got more inside of you to give. I mean, this is not an advanced move. We're not talking about front levers, which even at that you can still do naturally. We're not talking about being an elite gymnast here. We're discussing an L-sit. Bro, you got this. Take a few steps back and don't give up. Maybe you're just too heavy. Maybe you're not lean enough. Maybe you've been rushing this process a little bit. Don't give up. Just an L-sit, man. I'm not trying to downplay it. It's a great exercise. I do them all the time. But you got this. Bro, you fucking got this, okay? So don't accept the failure. That's how you conquer it, okay? Do not accept this. Do not let this beat you down. You're going to rise above. You're going to conquer that fucking L-sit. And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to try to get the front lever because you got more inside you to give, all right? You're a beast. Keep at it. My advice is to not give up. Use failure as an opportunity to keep learning, right? Every time you fail, it's like, okay, I messed up, but now I know what not to do. When people think about failure, it's like, they're devastated. That's not how I approach it. To me, it's always a learning opportunity. So view it the same way and don't give up on your goals, my man. You got it. What do you think about Scott Herman's cheat and recover method? I think this method is absolutely amazing. It combines the best of all worlds. You're getting the cheat repetitions, which allow you to overload and really get that weighted stretch. And obviously, this is going to help for strength development as well. And then you're doing the strict reps right after. It's something that I didn't really do, but I should have. I would say this is the perfected way of incorporating cheat repetitions. So you do your cheat rows, and then you do your strict rows. You do your power shrugs, and then you do your strict shrugs. Like, it's so perfect. I love it. I think it's a great way to train it. So much respect to Scott Herman. And also, now that I mentioned his name, be sure to check out muscularstrength.com, which is his website. I'll be on the forum very frequently. You're going to see some exclusive articles, exclusive content. I mean, we got a lot of good stuff coming along with Scott Herman. So check out his website, muscularstrength.com. Use the link in the description box to get a free month platinum, all right? So your boys got you covered. Get on over there. I'd love to help you out. So much love and respect to Scott Herman. Next question. Can you please make a cheat row technique guide? I want to do them, but I'm scared of injuries. Okay. The best way that I could teach you the cheat row, first of all, make sure that you know how to do a strict row correctly. Okay, that's the number one thing, and that's also why I do not recommend cheat rows for novices. You have to make sure that your form is freaking textbook, that you know how to use your back correctly, that you know how to row the proper way. Once you have that down, cheating is a joke. The best way to learn it is by doing pen lay rows. Oh, yes. Start doing pen lay rows, which is a dead stop row, concentric only, and start going heavier and heavier and heavier and try to ego lift, if you will. What I want you to do is pick a weight that you feel rather uncomfortable with, right? And you know what you're going to find? You'll naturally start cheat rowing. To get that weight up, you will no longer be able to use like just the rowing motion. You'll have to incorporate body English. Pen lay rows are the best way to teach you this because it's going to turn into sloppy pen lays. And all you got to do from then is take that sloppiness and apply it to other forms of rowing. So on your T-bar rows, you're doing the same thing. You know, you can also check out Caleb Willem. He has a way of describing it where it's like you're mixing in an RDL and the row at the same time. It's just something that you get good at with experience, but it's not that difficult. The number one thing you want to make sure that you got is a neutral or tight spine. Like, never round the lower back when doing a cheat row. That's how you make it safe, okay? So as long as your lower back is in a good position, you know, you're going to be fine. So you could use the body English. Cheat rows are fine to do. I've never had any strains doing a cheat row, and I think they can be done safely. And a lot of guys are doing them with great success. So just make sure you tighten the lower back, start doing those cheap pen lay rows. You're going to figure it out. It's largely intuitive. Does playing basketball, say 1 to 2 hours after a leg day, mess up recovery? I would have to say yes. First of all, after a leg day, I mean, you're really interfering with the adaptations here. You're going from balls to the walls, squats, leg press, lunges, all this stuff, to now doing basketball. For one, is your basketball going to suffer? I would say yes, for one. I mean, how can you even walk after a leg day like that? And secondly, it's completely different. Basketball is not the same as lifting weights in the gym. So I do think it's going to impede with the adaptations and therefore your recovery as well. But you know what? If this is the only time that you could play basketball, or you're very passionate about basketball, or it takes priority above the legs, then you know what? Fine. Who cares? Who cares if your legs lose a bit more gains? All right, whatever. I've done that a few times where I performed like boxing workouts right after my workout, and it was not optimal for recovery. I do think it interferes with the adaptations, but I wanted to do it because at that time it was a little bit more important to me. So I see the same way with the basketball. If that's what you prefer, you know, or you got no other days where you can actually do it, it has to be after a leg day, then whatever, so be it. It's not the end of the world. But I would say you would be better off doing it on a different day if we're talking about optimal recovery here. Thoughts on thumbless pull-ups? I love thumbless pull-ups, and a lot of elite calisthenics athletes recommend it as well. There's this guy named Taizo, right? Which he has multiple records on like bar work, right? And he recommends a thumb over grip. He actually believes that it makes you stronger, that you can actually grab the bar a little bit harder. And it kind of makes sense. It really does. Especially like on a thick bar. You know what I'm saying? So for strength, it's a great way to train. And also, if we talk about the mad muscle connection, you can feel your lats quite a bit with that. For a lot of people, it really makes a difference. Like the lat activation is so much better. So I think from a form perspective, it's amazing. Obviously for bodybuilding as well, you can't go wrong. And for strength development, a lot of the top guys swear by it. In fact, I do this on my weighted pull-ups. I do a thumb over grip. With chin-ups, obviously I do the regular. And with the one-arm pull-ups, I can't do the thumb over. I just find that I'm weaker like that. Taizo would disagree. I think Taizo does the thumb over even on those. But whatever, teach your own. Do you think it's possible to isolate more the inner chest? Well, based off my understanding of human physiology, whenever you do a chest exercise, the entire chest contracts, and there's no specific way of targeting the inner chest directly, right? This is just what I've been taught in the textbooks and stuff. Some gym bros would disagree. They would say, hey, man, if you do the cable crossovers, and you really focus on squeezing the pecs, you know, or you do the dumbbell flies, you can isolate it more. I don't really buy into it personally. I think that the shape of your chest is largely genetic. And all you got to do is fill it in as much as possible. Get your chest as big and strong as humanly possible, and your genetics will do the rest. With the exception being the upper chest. I do think you can specifically target that area. But the inner chest, I don't think that doing cable crossover and stuff like that is going to thicken it directly. Like thickening it more compared to, say, the outer portion. I really believe that you got to get the chest big and strong as a whole, and that's what really fills it in, okay? So I don't think you could change the chest shape in that way. How do I program high volume push-ups and overhead press? I don't really want to bench anymore. Okay. Well, I would you're still doing overhead press. Make that your primary way of pressing. And you could use a multitude of different strategies for that. You can use any periodization style you want, linear, DUP, whatever. It could be any bodybuilding routine as well. Higher exercise selection, lower. I mean, I'm not going to talk about overhead press programming. There's a million different ways to do it, okay? What I want to discuss is the push-ups. Now, because you're still lifting weights, I would say why not do weighted push-ups? Get yourself a dip belt, put it around like your upper ab area, and then elevate yourself such that you can do weighted push-ups in a power rack or any elevated surface for that matter. And now you can get some really good progressive overload on an exercise that's similar to the bench. You don't want to bench anymore? Okay, do these. I'd also recommend that you incorporate dips and possibly even weighted dips. You're going to have excellent carryover to presses, which is always a great thing, and you're going to get stupid jack in the chest, shoulders, and tries. And as far as the high volume push-ups are concerned, many different ways to approach that. You can do it off rings if you choose. You can do it off the floor. You can do it off an incline. You can do stuff like 4 sets of 25, diamond, 4 sets of 25, regular, 4x25, wide grip, freaking reverse grip, whatever the hell you want. Even mixing in stuff like clap push-ups. So there's many different ways to program this. But what I would do in particular is make the overhead press your main thing, right? And then the high volume calisthenics kind of supplements that on the side, which would be like push-up variations and stuff like that. But if you can, do the weighted push-ups and the weighted dips, and I think you get the best physique possible. So that's just some general little advice. If you want more, just let me know. I can deadlift 315, but my squat is only 175. What am I doing wrong? Well, there is a possibility that you're not doing anything wrong. It could just be that you're better suited to deadlift. I know lots of guys like that. Some guys are better at squats, others are better at deadlifts. I think anthropometry is a huge component here. So I would suspect, like, by you not telling me anything, I would say you're likely built to deadlift. You're probably going to be one of those guys who has a monster pull and then, like, a decent squat. For me, that was never the case. My squat was always really, really, really close to my deadlift. So I knew right off the bat that I was not a good puller. But I was pretty good at bench because of the short arms and stuff. So for you, I would say it's leverages. So I'll just roll with that. But if you want more specific details, like if you have any muscular weaknesses or stuff like that, let me know and maybe I could clarify that, okay? Alex, what are your thoughts on vegan protein powders? I have moderate acne, and I read online the whey protein powder worsens acne. Well, I think vegan protein powders are generally better than whey protein powders. They don't cause the same bloating issues or even the farts or any of that stuff. It's a different source, obviously. And I think that it is a great meal replacement. I would say for anybody who follows a plant-based diet and you want to get some extra protein, well, vegan protein powders are a great, great, great option. A lot of them are very high quality. They include a bunch of micronutrients as well, so you're getting more from it. And it's just a great meal replacement. So I actually approve of vegan protein powders, provided that it's a right source. Hey, man, I say go for it. And I think it's a much better alternative to whey protein powders, absolutely. So go ahead, man. If that's what you're interested in, go ahead. Hey, Alex, is it possible to do it 2 times full body without going intensity volume, but going medium intensity and volume finishers? Failure not both days. I feel better progression and tracking one program. Okay. So essentially you're replacing, if I understand this correctly, you're replacing the intensity workout with more like a medium intensity. So you're not doing 1 rep maxes and maybe you're going at 90% at the absolute max, but possibly even lower, maybe 80, 85%. Yeah, bro. You could totally train like that. I'm probably going to revise this in the next edition of Naturally Enhanced. But yes, if you don't want to go balls to the wall heavy all the time, there is another alternative. You just lower the percentages, increase the sets a little bit. So you can still do singles, but instead of doing 1 rep maxes, maybe you're doing 5 sets of 1, stuff like that. You can still do your 3x3s, but the percentages are a little bit lower. So if you don't want to go 100%, like balls to the wall, I'm going all out, heavy. You want to tweak that percentage a little bit down, hit a little bit more volume, medium intensity. Hey, it's good. You're still managing volume intensity in a great way. I mean, it's still concurrent. You're still following the laws. The only difference is that you're not working with like the lowest possible velocities. And I do think, in my opinion, of course, that using the higher percentages would be better. Like it's a better contrast. But hey, there's a lot of great guys who lift in the way that you're describing, where they have like, it's an intensity day, but not like totally, not 100%. And the volume days, obviously, that remains pretty standard. So I think it's going to work. Give it a shot and let me know how it goes. Do you think that Olympic weightlifting can get popular one day with YouTubers like Omarisuf making videos about it? And will you ever consider Olympic weightlifting for them extra yoke gains? Lol. To be honest, I don't think that Olympic weightlifting will become popular through YouTube. I just don't think that the average drug-free recreational lifter is interested in that. First of all, Olympic weightlifting is extremely technical and basic as well. And I think that most people who watch videos, they seek general strength and they want to be buff. I think being buff is the number one priority, to be honest with you. And the performance thing is like, you know? So obviously more recognition will be brought to the sport, especially guys like Omarisuf doing a great job of that. You also got strong men like Clarence Kennedy, and there's a lot of cool dudes representing the sport. But I don't think it's going to become popular through YouTube. I think it's just going to continue being the way it is now through the regular means. Now, as far as if I'm going to do it, absolutely not. I would say there's like a 1% chance of me even considering Olympic weightlifting. It's far, far, far too technical for my needs, and I honestly don't care about it whatsoever. I'm not interested in the competition lifts. There's a huge mobility and technique component. The mobility is fine there, but the technique, I'm not willing to learn all that. I'm not willing to train like that. It just does not interest me. For me, I'd rather focus on other stuff. General strength, just being buff. Like for me, being buff is number one, you know, and then the general strength is a fun way to get buff. Plus it's enjoyable at the same time. But being buff, man, and having good health and, you know, maybe excelling at other stuff like fight training and stuff like that, that's what interests me. But Olympic weightlifting, nah, it's not for me. But you do you, bro. Who cares what I do? What I do doesn't matter. It's about you, man. Difference in Z presses and pin presses for overhead press. They're quite similar. I would say the Z press is more difficult because you're sitting down on the floor and there's really, like that lockout is something else. So they're both great exercise. The pin press, I'm assuming you're talking about the standing one here. Whole kinetic chain, obviously, you know, you're standing up there. It's going to work your core really, really hard, especially if you're doing like partial pin presses, like maybe at the eye level or even higher. So for that, it's quite good. They're pretty athletic as well. They're both going to have great carry with the overhead press. They're both going to put on a lot of mass. I would say incorporate them both, man. But as far as which one's better, I honestly don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I think I get better gains with the Z presses personally, but the pin presses are a great option as well. So do both. That's all I could say. Alex, I'm a beginner and I'm starting a novice program. Should I start light? How many reps should I leave in the tank? Well, I recommend you start off with weights that you can safely do with good form. I know with the Strongless 5x5 program, Medi says, hey, you got to do empty bar for everything. I don't really agree with that. An average man, especially if you're an adult, you'll be able to lift far more than that. Like an untrained male can do more. So I say lift as much as you can with proper form, all right? And then just start from there. It could be on the lighter side. Yeah, maybe drop it down another 10% compared to what you could normally do. But you don't have to do empty bar right off the bat. No, you don't have to do that. And as far as going to failure, you can leave a rep or two in the tank, okay? Maybe go to failure on like your last set. Please check my Q&A section. I pretty much answer all these questions. All right, hi Alex, I bought myself a neck harness and it hurts my ears as hell. Can I do the exercise? The harness has some Velcro, but I think it's too big on the top. What can I do? Well, you said it's too big. Maybe you can wear a hat. First of all, the hat will cover up those ears, which is quite good. And it's going to make up for the lack of quality in the neck harness. This is why I'm always saying, if you're going to buy stuff like this, you got to get a good harness from the get-go. Personally, I'm never buying a cheap harness ever again, nor do I need to. I got the Iron Mind. I even got the Neck Flex. So I'm good on that. The last time I had a cheap harness, it freaking broke off my head. I was doing neck extensions, 90 pounds, freaking broke. The Velcro ripped off, and I could have had a serious injury. So that might be a factor, but hey, put on a hat. You said it's too big. That's a good solution. Also, might be a little bit weird, but tuck in your ears. Do this with your ears. I'm serious. I had to do that one time. With the neck flex in particular, sometimes when you're doing neck curls, the little loops will rotate inwards, and it hits your ears. So actually, I tuck the ears. So you tuck the ears with a hat on top of it, you're pretty much good to go. So a little bit strange, but should work. Could you use slingshot on ring dips, or is that dangerous? You know what? Maybe I'll try it tonight and let you know how it goes. I don't know. Ring dips are a tough exercise. They require immense stabilization. But I do think that they're relatively safe once you know how to do the form correctly and once you have the tendon strength needed to do them safely. Now, if you add a slingshot on top of that, well, the slingshot will obviously aid in stability tremendously, which I could see that being advantageous for the ring dip. But I think it would also distort the form tremendously. With a ring dip, you gotta be more upright with your elbow positioning in a certain location. And if you're doing the slingshot on your dip, you'll be more leaned forward, and the form of the ring dip will be changed dramatically. Now, when doing other dip bars, it's all right. But with the rings, it's a little bit different because the form is not the same. So maybe I'll try it out and get back to you, but I'm not entirely certain on this one. Should I stop consuming dairy even though I'm Scandinavian? Well, you know what, man? Life is not black and white. When I say that most people should not consume dairy, I mean that. But there are exceptions. If you're Scandinavian and you find that milk does not cause you any problems whatsoever, or you have a family history where everybody is healthy having a lot of milk, then what can I say about milk? I mean, I got some scientific arguments. I can show you some abstract stuff like that. But we also have powerful anecdote on the side of Scandinavians like yourself who have been having milk for a long time without any problems. So I don't know, man. I try to be as objective as possible. I don't have any bias when it comes down to nutrition. All I seek is the truth. And if your truth is that you can handle milk no problem, obviously I don't know how much you have in there, but if you can handle no problem, then you know what? I'm not going to speak on this. So I'm going to stay in my lane. If this is what's working for you, keep doing it. But I would also encourage you to do your research about milk. Try to look at different sources and see what the truth is. And of course, if you have additional feedback for me, let me know, all right? Best natural minoxidal alternative for beard growth. Well, I'm actually going to make a beard oil tutorial. I'm going to show you my recipe, which is really, really good. It's free of DHT blockers. It makes your beard smell amazing. It actually contributes to growth as well. So it's 100% natural. It's not that expensive either. I'll show you how to make that very, very soon since it's been highly requested, right? It's going to help the teenagers a lot too, especially since you don't want to use minox at a young age. So I'll show you that, and I think that'll answer your question. So look forward to that video, okay? All right, last question of the week. The heck is with your haircut these days? Yeah, man, I'm actually going to make a 1-year hair transformation video. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. I'm either going to start it in August or December. I've been compiling the clips so far. The video is already in the works. I just got to get my hair and beard a little bit longer. Essentially, the plan is no haircuts at all. I want to have long hair, as long as I could possibly get it, and a long, big beard. I recognize the fact that I look better with a trimmed beard, and I look pretty good with a fade. So nobody's denying that, and I appreciate your feedback when you let me know these facts. But I still want to have the beard and the long hair for very specific reasons, which I'm not going to discuss in this channel. So I'm growing it out. I'm going full freaking caveman mode. We're going to see how we look like. For me, it's more, my reasons are more important than looking sexy. You know, that's not my main objective. I don't care about that. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm in the awkward phase yet. It's getting pretty long, man, you know? But I just tuck it behind my ears. I'm going to be wearing some caps because it's going to start looking really bad soon. I'm kind of starting to look like George Washington. And the beard is just going to keep growing and growing. Let's get it, like, long. So no haircuts, man. No haircuts whatsoever. So for those of you who keep telling me to cut it, well, I'm not going to cut it. All right, then. So this Q&A video is over. It was actually really, really good. I enjoyed answering these questions. Put some more down below. And we'll do another one next week.